Welcome back to Ben's Garage. I don't know how long I'm going to be out here today because it's quite bleeding cold. Anyway, we've got out in the garage. I was planning on getting on with this Audi. I'm going to do some jobs on the Audi. Now, before our iMac packed up, I had some footage where I did some jobs on the Audi. It's on the old hard drive, but I've not managed to get that off yet, so I'll show you what I've done. I've already fitted the N75 valve. Now, I'd ordered there was some cheap versions and a more expensive version. I went for the more expensive version, which was the Pierberg, which turns out is OEM equipment for these engines, cars, Volkswagen, Audi, whatever. Pierberg is the OEM equipment, so, you know, I'm replacing like for like on that. I don't fancy rolling around on the floor today, so what I'm going to do, the bumper needs a bit of modification. I'll show you. We'll have a look down here. Now this car is really low. It's got S-line badges on it. I put those on. I don't think it's an S-line, but it has got the sports suspension on it. My sister had an Audi A4 and hers was a lot higher. This one is really quite low and quite planted. Whether it's because this is the 4x4 version and the suspension's a little bit different, I don't know, but this has got quite low sports suspension on it. Now I've already changed the sump on it once because I hit a speed bump. It came from out of nowhere. It didn't have any markings on it. All of a sudden, myself, the Hobbit and two dogs were in midair. Came back down with a bit of a thud. It didn't start leaking straight away, but it started weeping. Dad phoned me up when we'd been over to their place and said, "Oh, there's a bit of oil on the drive from where your car was parked." I changed the sump. It was really quite an easy job. I changed the sump and the oil level sensor, which bolts in the sump, reasonably priced. But from looking at the sump, it had been hit the road a few times before. And so it wasn't just the one time that I did it. It had got quite a lot of scuffing on it, but you could see the ones where I did it were quite fresh. But anyway, that was done. So the bumpers are quite low to the floor. So if you're parking up to a curb, it will sort of catch, and as you back up, it sort of pulls the bottom of the bumper out. That's what's happened to this one. It's split. Somebody's tried repairing it, but it's all bent down. So what I'm going to do is trim the bottom off, drill some fresh holes, get some cable ties in there, just get it all cable tied back together. It's not a perfect bumper, so there's no point doing a perfect repair. That's the plan for today, so we're going to get on with that in a minute. And that might be it for this video. I don't know. It is quite cold out here, so I don't know how long my hands are going to last. But anyway, we'll crack on with this and see how we get on. So, see you down here. Got my favourite tools, Makita, cordless. Right, the plan is, because there's no under tray that fits on there, I'm just going to cut this bottom piece off, hopefully. And we'll see what happens. Got a grinding disc on now, not that it makes a lot of difference being plastic, but I just want to tidy it up a little bit. That'll do for that. So I'm just going to drill a series of holes now, and we'll try and get this pulled back together. So we've already got a hole on the bottom. Wrong way. do what we can with the resources we've got. So, I'm trying to do it so that you can't see it, so now, you know, a big part of the cable tie. Try and get them all round the back. What I might do is get them all started and then turn it over and tighten them up. So now I've got them in there, I can tighten them up from behind and hopefully it'll do a fairly tidy job. It's not going to be perfect, but it's like a patchwork quilt. So there we have it. It's all back together. Ta-da! It's not perfect, but it'll do the job. So I think that's what we used to call in the trade a technical bodge. Is it a bodge? Yes, it is a bodge. You can buy these bottom parts of the bumpers relatively cheap, but at the end of the day, we want to get rid of the car. I'm honest with what I sell, so people can look around it, make up their own mind, can't they? Engine side of it should be fixed by then. So, but yeah, with the N75 valve, I was getting a bit not frustrated, but we've got all these parts sitting here, and I wanted to fit something. It's still up on axle stand, so it's just a little bit high for the wheelchair. Managed to take it off all right. I put the nut in the magnetic dish, thinking, excellent, we've not dropped anything. As I picked up the socket, the nut magnetised itself to the socket. I picked it up and then it dropped out. So that's in the engine bay somewhere. I've got to get underneath to fit the intercooler, so I'll have a look from underneath because we can't see it from the top. So I should have just left it till the car was down on the floor, shouldn't I? Anyway, that's done. If we've lost that nut, I'll just find another one. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so we are getting there. Things are gradually progressing. I thought I'd show you this technical bodge. Bodywork's not one of my favourite subjects, as one of the other videos where DIY is not one of my favourite sort of pastimes. I don't mind mechanicking and stuff like that. I'll get my hands dirty, but when it comes to bodywork, it's not my bag. But this is a little quick technical repair, so when that goes back on, that's it, it's finished. And we've just got to give it a good clean up then. So I'm going to leave this video for today, and we're going to come back out, get everything done underneath the car, so I'll bring you along for that in another video. And yeah, hopefully we can get this Audi up and running, out of the garage, because I've got some bits down in the barn that I want to bring up to the garage. I know it's getting a bit cluttered in here and we've still not finished that wall. Dad's put his back out again, so that's going to be on hold for a bit. But I'm just going to bring some bits and pieces up that are not going to get in the way of finishing the wall off. So we've got like a big cabinet down there, which can go just to the other side of the fuel tank out of the way. And I want to get the multi-gym up here, because the next car that's coming in is going to be the Panda. So once the Panda's in here, we'll be able to have dance parties around it, because it's a tiny little car. I want to get the multi-gym up here and start exercising. I've had a few people asking about how my legs are getting on and bits and pieces, so I will do a bit of an update video on that at some point. I'll do a day in my life, how I start my day off in the mornings, and some of you might be interested, some of you might not. Anyway, that's a video later on. This is today, bit of a bodge. Is it a bodge, or is it... Why spend money when you don't have to? If we was putting this up for a shitload of money, I would put a new bumper on it, but no. We'll get it running. We'll get it serviced, cleaned up, MOT'd or CT'd, and get it sold. That'll be the best bet. Let's see if I can catch these on camera. That was our local buzzard population. They're right up there now. I wouldn't exactly say they're soaring on thermals today, but they got quite some height on just then. I hope I've caught that on the camera. Bit of our local wildlife. We get it all over here. So, yeah, that's it for this video. So I'm going to sign off now. I'm just going to have a bit of a potter around in here now and wait for the Hobbit to come back up here. She was going to come up with a cup of tea. I've not seen it yet, but I could do with something, put my hands around, warm them up a little bit. We was going to... Oh, I'm waffling. Anyway, that's it for the Audi today. We'll catch you in the next video. So from me and the Hobbit, it's bye for now.